Hi, everyone. Welcome to Menopause Chats. I'm Erin Daruska. Today I have Lisa Williams with us. So thank you, Lisa, for being here today.
Thank you, Erin. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So tell us a little bit about your women's health journey,
Oh my gosh, where do I start?
wherever you would like.
Okay. So I'm one of these women who I feel like I try all the things to be as healthy as possible. And somehow throughout my whole life journey, things have gone wrong. So let's start when I was 21 years old. I was rushed to the hospital with severe pain in my right side. They thought it was my appendix that had burst. They rushed me into surgery. Come to find out, I had cysts on my ovaries that had aspirated, and they took my appendix anyway. Right?
While we're in here, let's just
Well,
take this. Yeah.
yeah. So that's kind of where it started. It led to infertility. It led to a miscarriage. I had very large fibroids in my uterus, which I had surgery for, and it's called a myomectomy, where they preserve your uterus because I still had not had babies yet and I wanted to have children. But which we thought was the reason or the cause for the infertility and for the miscarriage. So they take out the fibroids, but then leave your uterus intact, which then led to two C-sections because I couldn't deliver vaginally. Um, the fibroids come back. They balloon up to the size of a 5 month fetus. I looked like I was pregnant. My belly was super distended and ended up having a hysterectomy at the age of, I think I was like little over 45 at that time, which then you start feeling all the effects of menopause, right? I mean, they kept my ovaries intact, but they just took my uterus and my cervix. I was also going through a brutal divorce. I was moving. I was selling my house that my kids grew up in, and I had just lost my job. Like
Like
anything,
any one of those things is a lot.
yeah, yeah. So kind of threw myself into menopause, peri slash menopause, and then all the stressors that stack on top of that. And I remember calling my doctor shortly after I had moved and completed the divorce and got all that stuff settled, and I said, I don't know if it's me, I don't know if it's what my hormones, I don't know if it's stress, probably a combination of all, but I feel like crap and something has to change. So they ran blood work. Of course, everything is normal, but the only thing that was abnormal that came back was my testosterone was two, which will flatten you completely. And they were like, we don't even know how you're functioning at a
Like I
testosterone.
don't either.
Yeah, well, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. My hair started falling out also. Aaron, the drain in the shower, it
Yeah.
was covered with my hair. I started getting patchy bald spots everywhere. I mean, it became a nightmare. I've had my thyroid removed. I had a goiter on my right thyroid. So I feel like there's just been one thing after another. And I'm 57. And I was just looking for ways to help improve my health naturally and hormone free. And so I landed on a little company called Hello Again, tried the product, loved it so much I bought the company. I mean,
Oh
that's the
wow.
short version.
You have to really love something and believe in it to be like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy this.
I'm just going to buy it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, let me go back and say, I went to a functional medicine doctor, spent thousands of dollars on numerous tests, lots of supplements. I felt like, the little lady who's dividing
Yeah.
my pill box. And I'm taking probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 supplements a day. And I'm thinking, this cannot be good for my liver and my kidneys.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe at the end of the day, I just had really expensive urine, you
Right?
know?
Yeah.
So I just decided I need to find something that works for me. I quit all of that. I stopped taking supplements. I stopped going to see all these different specialists and doctors. And I just started listening to my body to figure out what works for me. How do I make this work for me? I was eating what I thought was clean. I was exercising, doing heavy lifting. I gained 25 pounds out of nowhere, all in my belly. Could not put my jeans on. My boobs are spilling out of my bra. Like it just, I felt miserable, inflamed. So all this to say, there is hope. And you could fix yourself with a little help, with a lot of help, whatever works. I'm of the belief that you find your own recipe and you find your own cocktail.
Yeah.
And whether that means hormones, whether that means hormone free, whether that means a combination of both, whether it means lifestyle changes, whatever you need to incorporate to figure out what works for you, I'm all for it because we're each an individual person, right? Our body is composed of our cells that are different from your cells, and what's going to work for you, it might not work for me.
Yeah,
So
and I mean, even just having conversations with friends who've tried like menopause hormone therapy, they're just like this, like either it worked or like nothing happened, nothing changed.
right,
And it's like,
right.
yeah, and everybody's, which is why I started doing these conversations, is because everybody's menopause journey is different.
Everybody's,
So it's not
every,
like you can say like, oh, this is my experience, and your experience will be exactly the same. It's like, no, your experience may be absolutely nothing like this.
So, I mean, I'm going to give you a perfect example. I had everything. I had shoulder pain, hot flashes, mood swings, brain fog, night sweats,
Weight gain.
anxiety, weight
Yeah.
gain. I mean, like a big combination of
Yeah.
things. My sister, who's 5 years younger than I am, has hardly felt anything. She might have had a couple of hot flashes.
Yeah.
And so everybody's different.
Right.
You
Yeah, because
just,
I've had some people say, "Well, I've asked my mom," and it's like it doesn't. It's like you're saying, like, "Oh, my sister, not it's
yeah.
different, different."
Yeah, and even though we're related, it's
Yeah,
it's different. But I think also I'm a huge believer in lifestyle factors first. So like I like to fix the body, the underlying issues first, and then move towards whatever you need to supplement with or add to. I'm also a certified menopause coach because I felt like I needed to learn more for myself, but also to share and teach and empower my audience with knowledge as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was, I think we were chatting about that earlier. Of like that was my thing too. It's like, oh, now I want to know all these things. So it's like if I didn't know these things, who else doesn't know these things? A lot of
Right.
people.
A lot.
It's like
A
how
lot.
can you help people just know that one, just have information's power, right? So the more you know, the more then you can make an informed choice to your,
Mhm.
as you were saying, like it's not a one size fits all solution. So if I at least know, armed with information, that's why I always tell people like talk to your doctor. Like
Yeah.
that's what I like about my practitioner is that she is just like, hey, I'll talk to you about all different options. Like I'm not just going to say you need to take a patch or you need to be on a pill or you need to, it's like, no, let's talk about what makes sense for you for anything actually, because I see
Mhm.
her for stuff beyond menopause. But it's like, oh, do I need to be on a statin? It's like, well, the cardiologist thinks so, but like I have friends who are doctors and they're like, yeah, every cardiologist will want you to be
Gonna
on a
say,
statin. And I was
yeah,
like, fair. And so, my doctor and I talked about it and I was like, I think I'm just gonna wait it out. I was like, I
right,
don't feel like for me right now, I don't feel like that's the right choice. And so,
right.
and she honors that versus being like trying to shame you into being like, well, no, you need to be on it.
Right. And I also feel like doctors, like you just said, the cardiologists, they're going to do what they're taught and told to do,
Yeah.
right? Your OBGYN is going to do what he or she is taught and told to do. A lot of OBGYNs don't even have menopause training.
Right.
It's like this much.
Yeah.
And so we have to be our own advocate. And that, given my journey, given all of the issues that I had, I want to empower women to be their own best advocate, to find you could talk to your doctor, but your doctor is not going to know you. It's not going to know your body. And you have to listen. I think that it just goes back to me figuring out how to listen to my body.
Yeah.
There's a quote that I saw somewhere that said, if we listened to our body when it whispered, it wouldn't have to scream.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, just
How did
listen.
you find it? Like, how did you sort of tap into that for yourself of like knowing what I tend to be a hypochondriac. So like like how what advice do you have for people of like how do you get to that like listening to your body without it being like every little thing is I Googled it and now I'm dying.
Yeah, because we're all dying,
Yeah.
right? Um, I just, okay, so let me just start with my shoulder
Yeah.
pain. I literally could not lift my arm probably more than this without excruciating pain. There was no way I could do a push-up or a pull-up or, lift a weight. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, like any of that. It was really, really excruciating pain. I literally felt like I had to sit there with my arm like this in
Mhm.
order for it to not be painful. So I didn't want to do surgery. I didn't want to go do injections. And I was like, what is it that I could do naturally to help fix that? So I'm of the belief that everything that goes wrong inside our body is caused by inflammation. Everything. Like any pain, a headache, a shoulder pain, it's all caused by inflammation. So how do you start to reduce the inflammation in your body? And that's where I started. I walk every morning at sunrise. So, sunrise is free red light therapy in your eyes, on your skin, on your hair, in your body. They sell red light therapy. It's all over the place. You could buy the masks, you could buy the helmets, you could
You can
buy
go lay in a you can
like
go lay
yeah,
in a bed for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So why is red light therapy so popular? Well, because it works, but you could get it for free if you go outside at sunrise every single and at sunset, both morning and night, bookend your days. For me, it just works. I have a puppy. We get up early and we're out at sunrise and we walk 3 miles. And so that was the first thing that I started doing is, okay, I can't go lift heavy because of my shoulder, but I could walk. So started walking at sunrise. And then I started investigating and reading more about the sunrise and the red light and what it really does for you. And, we have receptors in our eyes. I hope I'm saying this right. Superchiasmatic. I don't know if I'm going to say it right. Nucleus. But when we get red light from the sun in our eyes, it sends signals to our body to start raising our cortisol, which is the good cortisol. So morning is starting, elevate the cortisol, suppress the melatonin, and increase your hunger hormone, your hunger, and it's like starting your day. And then that also helps you go to sleep better at night. So, there's this whole like flywheel that there's just all these things that tie into together. So that was the first thing I did was just how can I move my body without causing more pain?
Yeah. Well, and two, like for me, like I feel like I always say like that sleep is the bottom of the pyramid. Like, and
Mhm.
if you have a good solid sleep foundation, which we know a lot of times during perimenopause, menopause, it gets thrown off by night sweats and things like that. But or for in
Mhm.
my case, like having to go to the bathroom a couple times in the middle of the night. But
Right.
having that, if the base of the pyramid can be solid, then great. But if your sleep's off, everything kind of ends up being off as well.
Everything. Yeah, I mean, I put a post out today on LinkedIn that talked about libido. I mean, if you're not sleeping well, why would you want to have sex? Like you're
Right.
exhausted, your body's exhausted, your mind is exhausted. But as you said, when you have that foundation built in and you're getting a good night's sleep, your mood's going to improve, your sleep's going to improve, your appetite's going to, everything's going to improve from the sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Is there
then,
some, yeah, go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So that was the next part was figuring out, okay, what time do I need to go to bed? What time do I need to eat? I started learning how to basically eat with the seasons and eat with the light of the sun. So not eating past dark, eating what grows in the sunlight at this time of year, and just making that connection. So I'm sure like you can, I could go to the grocery store today and I could probably buy any kind and every kind of fruit available. Berries, mangoes, apples, oranges, bananas, etc. A lot of it is not in season, but we get it because it's flown in or trucked in from Mexico or South America or Peru or Chile or wherever. And that's their summer. because that's what's in season there. But we truck it in to the US and we just make everything abundant. And really, that's not how our bodies were designed. We're not designed to eat fruit in the winter, even though we're accustomed to it because this is
Have
where
it
we
all the time.
yeah, we have it all the time. Like, let's have a bowl of fruit. Let's have a bowl of berries. And so learning to figure out what's in season and eat what's in season with what the light of the sun is growing in your particular area at
Right,
that.
because like when I lived in California, there was actually fruit most of the year,
Right,
but I
right.
now live in North Carolina, not so
Yeah.
much,
Yeah. I mean, I live in Texas and it's spring. So berries, strawberries in particular, are starting to grow and be abundant everywhere. So now I'll eat strawberries, but I didn't eat them back in November because they weren't in season. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It wasn't even something I've ever considered. So I was like, oh, no. I mean,
And
eating with the season makes sense. It's particularly if you shop at farmers markets and things like that. It's like, oh, I'm
right.
going to buy what's local
In
and here,
season.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why our farmers market is much smaller in the winter.
Exactly. Same here. And I love shopping at the farmer's
Yeah.
market. I buy fresh eggs and meats and, cheeses and soaps and all the things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I wasn't even thinking about like, oh, doing that and with like, and then the interesting thing about with the light, the first thing that popped in my head is like, oh, you'd have to stop eating really early in the winter.
You do, but for me, I'm an entrepreneur and I get to set my own schedule. My kids are grown, so I'm not serving a family or making dinner or whatever. So I could coordinate my meals when it works for me.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that that works for everybody.
right.
And I know, you have families and you have husbands that come home at a certain time, wives that come home at a certain time, and everybody's hungry. So I understand that. I made it what worked for me
Yeah.
and incorporated it for me.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it was just interesting. It was like not something I've ever was like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
Well, and as I've gone through this perimenopause, menopause, women's wellness journey, I'm passionate about learning what works for me so that I can teach it to other women so that they don't have
Right.
to go through some of the things that I went through. I had excruciating, painful periods, so much so that I was literally popping Advil like candy,
Mm.
which I know probably destroyed my gut and more than that destroyed a whole lot of things. It couldn't have been good. I had piercing headaches. I was inflamed, I was bloated, I had backaches, I had leg pain. I couldn't get off the couch some days. I was doubled over in pain. I literally could not function. And so how do I take all of that and with what my knowledge is today and help share that information with women who are younger than me
Right. Yeah,
that
that's my thing too. It's like, oh,
yeah,
like if I could just get to someone 10, and which is the great thing about having intergenerational friendships as well, is that I
right.
have friends who are 10 years younger than me, and I can be like, oh, or I was talking to a woman the other day, and she said something, and I said, how old are you? And she told me, I said, it's like, maybe talk to your doctor.
Yeah,
So I was
yeah,
like, let me like help you. It's like
yeah.
been there. I was like, you're sounding like I did when I was your age. So it's like, yeah, but I didn't know. And if you don't know, and I think, my algorithm is certainly, towards menopause and like I see a lot of
Sure.
this stuff, but I also realize that not everybody does.
Right.
And so it's
Same,
like,
same. Like
yeah, so it's like, well,
and we live in
everybody
this
sees it. No.
no. And we live in the circle, you and I, where that's a conversation that happens almost on the daily.
Yeah.
It's not a conversation outside the norm. Like people just don't sit there and have a conversation about menopause
Right.
or perimenopause or your women's. I think it's more and more women are starting to talk about it. And as our generation, the Generation X starts to really bring light to it, because our parents, our moms,
Right.
never shared anything with
Never.
us. Never. I'm gonna give you a little bit of truthism here. I didn't even know all the exact ways to have a baby, like to get pregnant and
Mm.
have a baby when I was trying to have kids, which I had infertility. And there were like, I didn't know that you only ovulated on this point in time. And, like my mom didn't share these things with
Yeah.
me. I didn't learn these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't have kids. I chose not to have children. And But I mean, I feel like I knew that piece of it, but it was always like in an effort to avoid.
Right, right. I mean, yes, I knew, but then there were things like I didn't know that you could take your temperature. I didn't, there were
Mm.
just things that I didn't know. I mean, if we're trying to get pregnant, my ex-husband and I, and we're spending the whole month trying to, it's like kind of pointless,
Right.
like there's only a particular period of
Yeah.
time. Yeah, yeah.
I think I only know from like watching TV shows and stuff where like it's a thing, right? And someone's like,
It's a
it's
thing.
not, it's like it's
Yeah.
time. Like like
Yeah,
all of
like
the things are right.
let's
We gotta
go.
go. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
else you're doing. Like this is what we're doing right now.
It's
What do you
yeah.
what do you feel like you wish you knew earlier? Or I guess what do you want other people to know?
Yeah. So going back to, I felt like I was doing all the things right. I was a child of the 80s, an adult of the 90s. Low fat was the thing.
Right.
High cardio, high impact, exercise more, eat less. I can't tell you how many nights I ate a salad, just a
Yeah.
salad. Yeah, like that was my dinner, which is detrimental to our health. Where's our protein? Where's our fat? Where's, the balance in our meal?
Just have a snack
And
well.
can I tell you that you could eat 10 of them because you're
Right.
thinking, this is fabulous. They're low
Exactly.
fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not harming me in any way
Nope.
while you're piling on the sugar,
Right.
right?
And chemicals.
And chemicals.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think what I would love to share is I wish I knew more about how to eat for my metabolic health, how to flip that switch from burning fat for fuel to glucose for fuel to back to fat for fuel. And knowing that it's okay if you want a cookie or candy or whatever, but you can get back to burning fat for fuel if you teach your body and you learn how to do it. And that's been my journey the last 2 years is figuring out how to flip that metabolic switch, which I feel like changes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where do people find that out for themselves?
I I took courses, followed, different physicians and clinicians. I did a lot of research. If you were to look at my AI
Mhm.
chats, it's like tons of women's wellness research. It's just I felt like there was something different. And I felt like I was doing something wrong.
Mm.
I don't even like to use that word doing something wrong. I wasn't doing what worked for me. I mean, look, I can make a mean green smoothie. I almost want to gag when I think about it now because I'm piling all kinds of stuff that I thought was healthy. And now I realize it's loaded with sugar, but natural sugars, but that's not what
Sugars
you
nonetheless. Yeah.
sugars nonetheless, but that's not what I needed first thing in the morning,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
It's to pile on the glucose. So just learning, I taught myself, and that's one of the things, Erin, that I want to do is I want to teach this to other women.
Yeah.
I want to incorporate, my menopause journey and my women's wellness with lifestyle and how can you bring it all together? And then the other thing is, I own a company that has, we have vaginal suppositories. It's cannabinoids, so CBD, CBG, which is plant-based. And then how do you incorporate something that nature gives you naturally? We all have endocannabinoid receptors in our body. How do you incorporate that into your lifestyle as well?
Mm.
Because our endocannabinoid system is the master regulator of mood, temperature, sleep, inflammation, pain. It sits way up here, which we don't realize because it's not talked about. Everybody talks about your hormones. It is the regulator of your hormones. And when your hormones start to fluctuate, does your endocannabinoid system receptors. And so you have to support them too. They're also your happy molecules. They have anandamide in them. That's what your endocannabinoid receptors are made of. And so when you feel depressed or anxiety or mood swings or mood change, it's because those receptors, your endocannabinoid system is dysregulated. So then how do you bring it back?
And so how like can your products work with like people who are still using hormone, therapy of some sort?
Sure. So the way I see it is you could use it by itself You could use it with hormone therapy. You could use it in conjunction. You could do whatever works for you. We have on our website at helloagainproducts.com, shameless
Yeah,
plug.
no worries.
Um,
Plug away.
you you can go and look at we have a drug interaction checker.
Mm,
So you could go to the product that you want to choose, and then let's say whatever you're on, estrogen, progesterone, whatever, you could go plug that in and it will tell you what interaction will happen with that particular cannabinoid. And this is third party, it sits on top of our website. So I always like to think of you might need some extra support. I know that when I talk to women who have used estrogen and or testosterone or a combination or even progesterone, sometimes it's not improving their hot flashes or their mood swings or their sleep. And you might need a little bit of extra help. So I just think of it as a supplement. There's a lot of research out there on CBD. This is just the delivery method is different. You're not taking a pill or a patch or a tincture. It's a suppository, so it's delivered vaginally.
um, and so I'll let you or share. So share again the name of your company, how people find you. I'll also put it in the notes, but
Yeah, it's Hello Again, and it's helloagainproducts.com. You could find us on Instagram, Hello Again Products. I also do a YouTube channel. It's simply Lisa Williams, and you could find me there. I share a lot of information about what I've shared with you, a
yeah,
little bit in more detail about lifestyle as a holistic lifestyle changes, as well as adding cannabinoids and how they work together.
great. I'll add that in there as well so
Thank you.
people can find you, of course.
Thank you.
Anything else that you I guess maybe hope to share with others or anything we didn't cover that you're like, "Oh, wait, people must hear this."
I think just for me, when I'm talking about metabolic flexibility and flipping from fat to fuel to glucose and back, it's it's really leaning into ketosis. But I think what happens is people think of keto as a diet,
Yeah.
right? Like we think of um, keto like paleo or like carnivore or whatever other diet you want to put out there. And keto is not a diet. It's a metabolic state that you get your body into. And so if I could just share that we have to eliminate the word diet from our vocabulary
Yeah.
and just if
And
we
it's
could,
so hard if you're a Gen X woman because
it's
that's what we grew
so
up with.
hard. Yes, going back to the Snackwell cookies
Yeah.
and the low fat and all of
Yep.
the things. So really it's learning how to burn different fuels.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to know. How do you burn fat for fuel versus how do you burn, but when your glucose is depleted, when your glycogen is depleted, then you start burning fat for fuel. That's when the flip switches and you're in a metabolic conditioned state of ketosis.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think in the 90s it was Atkins.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my dad was a very, very large man. He was over 300 pounds. He was extremely overweight. He smoked. He ate every kind of cookie, candy, junk food that you can imagine. And I remember I was probably 10 or 11 or 12, and he had gone to the doctor, and the doctor had told him, reduce your carbs and increase your fat, which was this was what, 40 years ago? And it really is the case. Reduce your carbs and increase your fat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not what we were taught. It was like,
No.
eat carbs, or you could eat carbs. That was fine. Carbs were fine.
Yeah, well,
But
sugar, but we
yeah,
didn't really like we weren't looking at labels when you and
no.
I were younger and going, "Oh my gosh, look at how much sugar's in here."
Right.
We're looking at how much fat is
Yep.
in there.
Yeah. And then it was
Yeah.
like, oh, but and to your point, like, oh, I can never, like, I was a Weight Watchers lady for so many years. It's like,
Yeah.
what 0 point things can I eat?
Yeah, which you don't know how much sugar's in there.
Yeah. I mean, there
Yeah.
was a lot of stuff that was like complete junk that because I remember they used to have these, they were like these muffin, Vitamuffin things or something, and I would eat them, and it was like like they were 1 point, and it was like it was all sugar, chocolate, carbs, like
Right. Right. I mean, I think we have this mentality of when somebody puts a diet out for us, whether it's a point base,
yeah,
whether it's, counting
macros and yeah,
macros and all. I don't do any of that. I don't count macros. I don't count calories. I don't do any of that. I just know I've taught myself enough how to flip that switch, and that that changed everything for me. It literally put me on this path to improving my life, which, like I said, I think we have to all find that
yeah,
cocktail or that recipe. But I lost 25 pounds. I started feeling better. My brain fog, my moodiness, my inflammation, all of it started to improve. And then, on top of that, I'm using Hello Again. So, which is kind of sitting there as well.
yeah. Super helpful. Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
all your
Thanks for
information. Thank you for
allowing
being,
me.
yeah, oh my gosh. And thank you all for watching, listening, however you're taking this in. Feel free to share it with others. Feel free to comment. If you're interested in being a guest, feel free to reach out. We'd love to have you. Otherwise, again, thank you so much for watching and listening. And Lisa, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks, Erin.